Well, myself and Mar probably haven't sat down together properly with a guitar and a piano since, God, well, maybe more than 10 years. Since we just sat down and played music together in a room. You know, apart from maybe appearing on each other's records, you know, I'd send Mar a recording and she'd sing on it and send it back to me, and there's magic in that, but there isn't that connected thing. And before we came on this tour, we were really happy to be coming on this tour, really excited, and we decided we'd write a song. Maybe we'd write 2 songs, maybe I'd write one, Mar would write one, and that we would have a couple of new songs to play. And I went to Iceland where Markéta lives. Markéta lives in Reykjavik, and we finally got to sit down with just, you know, a chair and a piano, and Markéta was like, well, what have you got? And I said, I have this thing, I've got this bit of an idea, and I don't think we ever actually even looked at that song. We ended up writing 18 songs that day. And just these, like, you know, when I say 18 songs, I don't mean like that we wrote 18 complete, but a song is kind of a, I guess if you measure a song as a sentiment with a melody, then you've got a song, right? The rest of it's just filling in the lyrics and getting it right. So we ended up with all these ideas, and so we're here and we're trying some things, and it's been really, you know, it's really, you know, I'm sure when you go see your favorite bands, it's great, it's really wonderful to hear the old music, and I love it, and we will play that music, but it's also really great for the band when they can get to dig into things that excite them. So that song that you just heard, Markéta played it the other day at a gig, and it was like, what's that song? And she was like, oh, it's just this thing. She was like, what? So we're having one of those tours where we're kind of discovering little bits. I might just skip on to Factory Street. So I just had a baby boy 11 months ago, and he was born on a full moon, actually, and so we measure his birthday by the moons, or every month the moon goes by, we measure his birthday, and it's going really far out of sync with the actual date of his birth, which is so interesting. If we just stay with the moons, it's going to be a very interesting life. Because they do diverge, they diverge pretty quickly. Our you know, our man-made calendar versus the boss. So I wrote this song for him. We're living in Helsinki, his mother and I and Christy, and we live on this beautiful street called Factory Street, which was where all the workers who used to work on the docks in Finland, they used to live in these flats, and there's a beautiful church at the end of the street, and the Factory Street bells. This the name of the song is the Factory Street Bells. These bells would ring, they're beautiful, interesting chime, and as I was leaving I said to Christy, those bells will remind you I'm coming back. Every time you hear them, you'll know I'm coming. It's one less time. And so this is for him, this is for his granddad. We live above a beautiful old school restaurant, one of those, a place that was glamorous in the 30s, but has kind of faded into this incredibly classic place. They still hold themselves as if it's the 30s, but this place is long past its golden, place called the Seahorse. And if anyone knows the movies of Aki Kaurismäki, the Finnish director, they'll know this place because they feature. Anyway, I'm going off on one. This is for Christy, and it's called the Factory Street Bells. Well, that's another day over. Go to sleep now, my son. It's a full-blown, solid gold miracle you've come. And your mother's a beauty. Your dad's a fortunate man. And he'll be back to hold you just as soon as he can. And they'll come to find you, come to remind you that we all play our part. Oh yeah, they'll come to find you, come to remind you that I'm never that far. Those factory street bells, oh, they'll be ringing, those factory street bells, just for you. Now the first snows have fallen, and the world's still brand new, and Ritza's down the seahorse with the Kaivanto blues. And the weather will test us, but we're not beaten yet. And the pram in the hallway is about as inspired as it gets. And they'll come to find you, come to remind you that we all play our part. Oh, now they'll come to find you, come to remind you that we're never that far. Those factory street bells, oh, they'll be ringing, those factory street bells. That's another day over. Go to sleep now, my son. It's a full-blown, solid gold miracle you've come. Thanks very much. Thank you.